running is not canceled. Your goals are not canceled. Some of your races might be canceled, but the race is not canceled. Welcome, everybody, to the Race Record Quarterly Podcast. I am your race director, Sobomehin Marshall, starting this out to let you know that the race is not canceled. We are going to continue to plan and be optimistic that the race is happening October 1st through the 4th as scheduled. We certainly will be reevaluating that optimism throughout the spring and into the summer. But as of right now, say it again with me, y'all. The race is not canceled. All right. So again, welcome. Again, my name's Sobomehin Marshall. I'm your race director for the race and one of the founding partners for the race. And I'm joined today by our founding partners. So we just want to kind of introduce ourselves to you, as well as tell you a little bit about what our quarantine life is looking like right now. I don't think we need to go into details about the status of the world right now. I think we're all going through it. You know, I am working from home. My husband, he works from home every day. He actually works in the healthcare industry in the marketing department for his job. So he's on the front lines of communication. So it's really interesting seeing kind of the work that he's doing. As most of you know, I'm a race director. So this is definitely affecting me and my business on a daily basis because all of our events have had to be either postponed or canceled through the spring. We haven't made any decisions on summer events yet, but the spring is definitely postponed and or canceled. And we're going to be announcing some cool little pivots to keep the running community engaged. But in terms of just everyday livelihood, getting really good at Zoom, getting really good at webinars and web calls and conference calls, keeping all of my partnerships really strong and just trying to continue to keep people motivated, active, connected, and positive. And I think most important to mention, I'm healthy. My family is healthy. I have one family member, unfortunately, that has passed from the COVID-19, complications from COVID-19, kind of a distant cousin in the Chicago area. So that was really tough. We dealt with that last week, but I'm very blessed that my family and my immediate family, we're all doing well, sheltering in place, doing all the things that we need to do to get through this. So Booker, how things going for you?
I want to start out by saying I'm well. My family is well and healthy, and my extended family so far is doing well. My parents are both in their 80s, so that's one of my main concerns back in Virginia. And so my sisters and I have been doing everything we can to keep them sheltering in place and sending them groceries and foods via all of the great Uber Eats and Instacarts and all of that type of stuff. I'm still working from home. Still creating my lectures and stuff online. And my wife is doing well. My son, I'm really proud of my son. I have a 23-year-old son that's still home who has a girlfriend that he hasn't seen. Well, she actually came into the yard yesterday and we let him see her through the storm door. But he hasn't actually been able to have any contact with his girlfriend in 5 weeks. He hasn't left the house in 5 weeks. So we went into the shelter in place long before it was officially put in place by the governor here in Georgia. Outside of that, I'm adjusting to the social distancing. I'm starting to like it a little bit. I'm not sure I'm ever going back to a grocery store. Instacart has been the bomb. I don't, do people still say that? Anyway, Instacart's been great. Order my groceries, they're here in less than an hour and a half at the most. And before all of this started, one of my I hate going to the grocery store. So far, so good with that. And we're just waking up every day. I think the craziest thing is my sleep schedule. I stay up really late and then I wake up really early and I can't figure out how to go to sleep or stay asleep. It's bothering me a little bit. But other than that, we're well and happy to say that.
Quarantine life for me is going well. We're fully adjusted. I'm working from home. Both of my boys have transitioned to Google Classroom. for their school assignments. So that was a little bit of a learning curve in the beginning because we just had like a lot of bandwidth needs, and we only have so many devices in the house. And we had 4 people that needed to be on devices at any given time. My wife is a part-time teacher, so she's delivering content online. The boys are trying to receive content online, and I'm trying to work. But we've kind of got a schedule ironed out. We all move around the house. I realized that moving around the house helps a lot. You know, just I start my day in one room, say I'm in the office, then after a couple hours, I move to the living room or the kitchen just to see different parts of the house, keep all the windows open. And I guess unlike Book, I'm still going outside pretty much every day. But it's just, I'm social distancing from everyone outside of my house. So, you know, me, my wife, and my 2 boys, we go out pretty much every afternoon when we're done with work and school. And we go, you know, we'll either walk around the subdivision, we'll play soccer. Today, you know, we went out and just played catch, threw the baseball around a little bit just to get outside. Other than that, we've been focusing on keeping our schedule the same. So like I still, you know, before I used to get up and run before work. I still do the same thing. I'm just doing it on the treadmill now. So I still get up, run before I start my day. I try to get dressed every day, try to avoid the whole staying in the pajamas all day thing. And other than that, we're doing good. Everybody's healthy. You know, I had a couple of people within my relatively close circle that contracted COVID-19, but no one in my family, and certainly no one in my immediate family. So we're grateful and thankful for that. And other than that, we're maintaining. I don't know how long this thing is going to last. So we're really rolling. And the thing that I'm most proud about is that we're all getting along. That was honestly, you know, just to keep it real, that was my biggest concern. Like, man, all of us being in the house for weeks at a time on top of each other. But man, it's been smooth. I think we're all respecting each other's space. So even though we're all in the same house, we're not constantly on top of each other. So yeah, we're good.
Yeah, and I've been saying a lot, like, this whole thing is testing your relationships, whether you're married or, you know, roommates, whatever it may be. And I'm proud to say as well that me and Malik still really like each other. So
nice.
Well, social distancing. Life in quarantine is very different. But I, like Darrell, like to get up and have a routine. That staying in the pajamas thing will kill your mind. So get up early, get a run in, either on my treadmill, sometimes outside, get a little stationary bike thing going on, just get the juices going to the brain and a little endorphin rush. And my day usually goes pretty well with that. I am at home. I'm learning new skills, learning how to work from home, which is very different in my occupation. But yeah, you can teach an old dog new tricks, no problem there. So thankfully, my family, my immediate family as well, the person I share the most concern about is my daughter who lives in New York, who's in the epicenter of things. But thankfully, she's doing well and keeping her head together in the midst of it all. So really thankful overall. I do know some good folks that have passed away personally. They weren't immediate family members, but I share the pain of the folks that were close to them. So this thing is real, and we've got to hunker down, everybody, and it will get better in time.
all right, thanks for sharing, and definitely prayers to your family up in New York and just all around the nation. I mean, all of us, do we have everyone have family kind of around the country that they're checking in with more often now?
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yep. Zoom.
Oh, yes.
Just like everyone else, just trying to have a routine each day, try to get up early, try to get things going. Like Tess, I still try to go out. The only time I go out is just for a run, just to get out the house. And then, like I said, I'll do some workouts, you know, still trying to do some work here online and just trying to stay sane. Just the other day, it's just funny how we adapt to things so quickly. My mother and her 8 siblings decided to have church on Easter Sunday through Zoom. So it's just amazing that, and they're all so much older, so it was just amazing just to see them all adapt so quickly to the technology and things like that. But yeah, but everyone's doing well. Immediate, extended family, we're all doing well.
Did somebody deliver a powerful word on Easter Sunday?
My uncle, he delivered a powerful word. My grandmother, poor thing, she did a hymn. It was just, it was awesome to see, but also it was kind of funny at the same time. But
you should have
That's
recorded
great.
that one. We could have made that go
everyone
viral.
could talk at the same time, so it was like womp 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 womp. You couldn't hear nobody. Yeah.
Did anybody catch the Holy Ghost during the Zoom call?
No, but it was some tears. It wasn't the Holy Ghost, but there were some tears.
No, that's beautiful.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Well, I think, a big takeaway from this whole time, and I did somewhat the same, like had some communication with some family members. And I think if one thing great that comes out of this is that it forces you to kind of be more connected with your family and friends afar, then, that can be a good thing that we can take away from this.
Yeah.
Can I ask Darrell a quick question? Darrell, so are you doing all of your runs on the treadmill now?
Yeah, except for like I've run with my wife and kids.
Okay.
But
all of your training type run.
Real runs, yeah, all of them on the treadmill. And it's not that I'm against running outside. I don't know. It's just, it feels like something extra to think about. Like when I'm with my my wife and kids, we just running like close to the house. But I know if I go out on my own, I'm going for whatever, let's just say a 15-mile run. I just gotta think about all the places I'm going and who else has crossed this path.
I'm doing the same thing.
I mean, I may go out for a 3 to 5 mile run, and that whole time, I'm thinking like, okay, here comes someone, so let me get over. Here comes somebody else. Hold on, let me go way across the street. So it is a lot that you do have to think about when you do go out for those runs.
Yeah.
I get up early. It's not been a problem the times that I've been out, except for when I came across a mean dog in the neighborhood. But people have been respectful. We get on the opposite side of the street, and I keep fairly close to home, except going a little bit longer. And I do some repeats so I can get 8 or 9 miles sometimes. But it's been okay being outside.
Yeah,
but definitely they encourage off-peak times. Those are, like you said, early morning. Those are ideal times where you don't have to worry about people on the streets and things like that. So off-peak, definitely.
And is everyone pretty much running solo when you're doing your runs?
Solo.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm on the treadmill like Darrell right now. The treadmill and Netflix has been my friend.
And I know, Darrell, you mentioned that you've been using Zwift. Was that you that talked about?
Yeah,
I didn't know you had a running on it now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So for y'all that don't know about Zwift, it's kind of, I think it really blew up with cyclists, but they added a running component, which is not quite as robust as the cycling component. But basically, like you could, as you run on the treadmill, you have an avatar in a virtual environment that's running at the pace that you're running on the treadmill. And every other avatar that you see is another real person, either a cyclist or a runner. And you're going through mapped out cities. Like they have Richmond, London, New York. They have their own city that they call Watopia. So it's just pretty cool because if you, like I'll have it on I have like the TV in front of the treadmill. In a way, you can sort of trick yourself into thinking that you're actually running because, you're looking at this TV screen, you're seeing this avatar that's adjusting with you. And it's just cool knowing that every other person I pass is a real person somewhere else in the world.
Yeah, that's pretty neat. I'm going to have to check that out, try it out next week.
And it's free for runners. Cyclists, you have to pay. I think Ralph probably knows better than me. It's I think it's $15 a month.
Yeah, you got to pay if you're a cyclist. But I'm a tightwad, so unlike you, I do the free thing.
So Darrell, do you have to have a piece of hardware that tracks your movement? How does the avatar know your pace?
So if you have one of the newer Garmins, it'll connect to your Garmin. So like if you have a 245 or a 945, otherwise you have to have a running pod, like a foot pod, running pod. Yeah. And that's where it picks up your pace and or heart rate from.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, we are definitely not at a lack of virtual opportunities. We'll talk a little bit about that later, but there's so many ways to stay connected by yourself and still feel connected with other people. So good to see that our founding partners are doing a great job with that. And, we've had our first meeting for the race planning team. We had our first meeting a couple of weeks ago, and I'm gonna tell you, it was so beautiful just to get everybody together. For those of you that follow us on our social media, actually, I haven't posted that on the race social media. I posted it on my personal page. But we have about 28 people on our team, and we had almost perfect attendance. So I think they sent a clear message that they like these virtual meetings. Not that we have too much problems with attendance during the year. We typically meet once a month, March through October, and everybody was really excited to kind of get the planning and everything going for the race 2020. So Shanta, give us a little update of kind of where we are as of today. We're recording this on Zoom. This is April 15th. So depending on when you listen, these are the updates as of April 15th, 2020 for the race 2020.
Yeah, as of today, in terms of registrations, we are at 1,308 registrations. So, I mean, we are super grateful for the early support of the race community. In terms of top 10 states and cities, Georgia is number 1, followed by North Carolina, Illinois, Texas, Maryland, New York, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Virginia, South Carolina. And our honorable mentions with 30 plus or more participants in their group, Florida, California, and Tennessee. In terms of cities, Atlanta, Chicago, Philadelphia, Raleigh, Brooklyn, Charlotte, Baltimore, Houston, Southfield, and Detroit. Our top, and Little Rock are our top represented cities. In terms of groups and teams, we have over 50 groups and teams set up, and we appreciate those leaders who are pumping up the race and bringing their crews to Atlanta to celebrate with us. A few to mention who have shown major support with huge teams registered so far. We have BGR, Black Chicago Runners, MRDS, Run DST-Crimson Team. We have the Reggae Runnerz, Black Distant Runners of the Carolinas, and Black Runners Connection.
We're going to really quickly go through some of the questions that some of you might have regarding the race and the future of the race. But again, the race is not canceled. We are not canceled. We are proceeding with optimism. And our scheduled dates are October 1st through the 4th. And those of you who haven't listened to the first episode of the Race Record Quarterly Podcast, we went through a whole schedule, the lineup, our plans for 2020. We have a really awesome race plan for you. But we want to kind of go through any concerns that you might have. All this information is on the raceuc.com website. But just real quick, we're just going to go through some of the common questions that you might have.
What if the race is forced to be canceled?
So if the race is forced to be canceled, we're going to be, again, reevaluating the stance right around that June, July timeframe. If the race is forced to be canceled before July 1st, we will certainly communicate with all the participants who are registered, and we will be able to offer a partial refund or a deferment. If the race is forced to be canceled after July 1st, or any of those months leading up to the race, then we will communicate again with the participants directly that are registered, and there'll be some sort of scaled refund, partial refund, and deferment option. So that's what we're looking at. But again, I can't emphasize enough, we're proceeding with optimism. There's nothing as of April 15th to make us feel or think that we won't be able to proceed with our race. You know, we have very good relationships with the city of Atlanta, permitting. Of course, you guys know we have Atlanta Track Club and various other race series here in the Atlanta area that will be kind of leading the way on how we proceed from this date, from this time on large scale events, as most of your cities do. So we're really optimistic that the race is going to happen as scheduled.
So what if another race that I'm scheduled for reschedules to the same weekend as the race?
So we know this has happened. We know there are a couple of big events that have rescheduled from the spring to the fall, and some of those have landed on the same weekend as the race. So if you have a race that reschedules to our date and you choose to participate in that alternative event, you'll have the option to either request your packet to be mailed to you, and it's your registration. You can keep the packet, you get your shirt, your medal, we'll put together a nice little swag bag for you and ship that to you. But you also have the opportunity to transfer your registration. Our transfer process is very simple in terms of you go into your registration confirmation, you click the link that says transfer to someone else. You do have to have somebody to transfer it to. It's not just like a floating transfer. But once you find someone that is interested in participating and they want to take your registration, you just transfer it to them. You'll be refunded what you paid. That new person will be charged the current rate. So if you were one of our folks that registered during Black Friday, you got that really good deal, the new person isn't going to get that deal. They're going to get the current registration rate. But the good news is the registration doesn't go up again until August 1st. So we have a good amount of time for transfers at the best rate possible. So again, all of this is on our website, and we've communicated this via email. But if you have any questions on that, you can certainly reach out to us at info@theraceuc.
If the race is forced to be canceled, will it convert to a virtual, postponed to another date?
All right, so this is a tough one because we really don't have an answer for this situation. And again, we're choosing to proceed with optimism. We'll reevaluate that optimism mid-July, sometime in the, mid-June, sometime before July 1st. The race is meant to be experienced in person, and that is how we plan. We're planning for a full weekend of experience. So, don't really have an answer for that question right now, but we will do what is in the best interest of our running community when we cross that bridge. So that's the general answer to that question right now. I can definitely say with confidence we won't postpone the race to another date because we're already in late fall and nobody wants to come to Atlanta and run in January or February. So we're not going to do that to y'all. So let's just cross that bridge when we get to it.
Okay. Due to the state of affairs of the world, if I no longer feel comfortable having October 1st through the 4th committed to a race weekend, is there anything I can do to get out of this commitment?
So first of all, I just want to thank all of our race and supporters. You guys have been super awesome. I know when a lot of these cancellations and postponements started, there was a lot of uproar in the running community about how races were handling their communication, but you guys have been awesome. I've gotten maybe 3 emails from people asking, hey, is the race going to be canceled? And I just respond with the general statement, we are good to go. So please just communicate with us. If you're having any struggles, email us at info@theraceuc. A lot of people send us messages through our Facebook and Instagram. Email is definitely the best way, and we'll handle your situation on a case by case. I know there's a lot of situations going on out there, and we want everybody to feel really good about supporting the race with their registration fees. So just send us an email and we'll take care of you.
All right. So with all those who've been training all summer long or all, for their fall races, I know some are concerned about their training for fall races. Any suggestions?
So we just encourage everybody, we're kind of having a conversation, just stay active during this time. All of our founding partners, we're all runners at different levels, at different interests, at different quantities of miles. So stay connected. We'll talk a little bit later about what some of the groups in our network are doing to keep everybody motivated and active, but you'll be hard pressed not to find some way to stay connected to the running community during this time. So, if you're not on social media, get on somebody's email list. You can get on the race email list. You're already on the race email list, hopefully. Running Nerds, our general email list, we send out some good content. But get a coach. Running coaches are businesses, so they need clients right now. So get a running coach and have them guide you through this time. But just stay connected. That's the ultimate advice for everyone. Stay connected. So, but again, thank you, Shanta, for asking those tough questions. If you have any other questions, again, this is April 15th that we're talking to you. Just send us a message and we are happy to hear from all of our racer community. We're staying very engaged on social media and love to hear from everybody. All right. So moving along, we talked about, kind of our current state of affairs, but, we had a pretty good first 2 months of the year, if I do say so. I mean, things were shaping up really nicely, and part of that was our huge lead up to the Olympic trials weekend. So we all kind of had a great experience, but Darrell's going to kind of lead us in a discussion and recapping our Olympic trials weekend that we had at the end of February here in Atlanta.
Yeah, it's funny, we were just saying right before we started recording how it feels like that was so long ago. And I remember, like, during the trials weekend, I'd never considered the fact that this might be our last grand running event before we would head into this lockdown situation. But with that being the case, I mean, it's my opinion, and certainly I saw it in the media afterwards, that it was just an amazing event. It was one of the best, I don't know, I've heard some people argue perhaps the best Olympic trials qualifier marathon ever.
Yeah.
And I think it's important that we frame it as a full experience, because it wasn't even just a race. I mean, the entire weekend, the way everything was laid out, the close proximity of everything, the hotel was close to all of the events, which was close to the starting line. So, I just remember, I think most of us, pretty much all of us on this board volunteered at some portion of it. And I was there, I know same with Tess and Shanta, pretty much every single day leading up to it. And just the atmosphere of seeing, like, all of these athletes taking over downtown, just walking by some of, our favorite runners, and just the environment, the weather, everything was just really exciting. So if that is, if that was going to be the last event before this lockdown, I'd say Atlanta nailed it. What do you guys think?
Yeah, absolutely. It was just, the word epic got really overused for a while, but this event brought the word epic back to life. There was no other way to describe it.
Yeah. And Tess, kudos to you for, one of the, I just mentioned all of the events, but one of the events that we had was the race meet and greet. And for those of you that weren't able to attend, Tess had this idea of getting together, as many of the Black Olympic trials qualifiers as we could into, like, a smaller venue, so that it could be a place where, like, all of the local runners and runners that came into town that we could, like, touch and communicate with in a more intimate setting with these really high level athletes. And I remember honestly, I'm gonna be all the way honest, when you first mentioned the idea, I was like, all right, yeah, whatever, like, I'll send out messages. But, like, I literally had a very low expectation for turnout. I thought to myself, man, these people are coming in from out of town to run this, once every 4-year event. There's no way they're going to want to just, like, hang out with a bunch of, just regular runners. But, man, it was amazing the turnout that we had. We had Peyton showed up, Nathan, Brandon, Darrell, all these people from around the world. And most importantly, we had the winner of the women's marathon show up with Alethine. And who would have guessed that? I can remember you interviewing her and her saying, like, oh yeah, I'm coming to try to win. And she was right there, and we were able, she was so cool. All of them were so down to earth. I don't want to dominate this whole conversation. You guys see what you think, but that was amazing. So kudos to you, Tess, for seeing a vision that, if I'm quite honest, I did not see it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I tell you, my stalker skills are really good in terms of tracking down all the athletes. But no, for real, I basically utilized Atlanta Track Club put out the media guide that had all of the athletes' IG and Facebook information. So I basically just went on every one of their IGs. I found them through the race IG and messaged them. And honestly, we had 4 athletes that showed up to our meet and greet, but I got responses from, I would say, probably like
5 show up.
We had 5 show up, that's right. And I got responses from, I would say, over half of them. There's a good list of athletes. But it was like every time somebody would write me back, I would like send Darrell a screenshot and text her like, "Hey, so-and-so back." And I think I was trying to impress you, Darrell. I ain't gonna lie, because I kind of have a feeling you thought I was a little off with this whole idea. But
I thought you were on. I thought it was a great idea, but I thought there's no way this is gonna happen.
She could feel your side eye.
Oh, it was there.
Yeah.
It was there.
He's trying to get in the venue, like trying to get the venue together. And shout out to Russell Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship. They have this shell space that hasn't even been built out yet. And I was like, I want to host this event. I'm going to invite all these marathoners and runners. Can we use this space? And I think I caught them at a moment of weakness where they didn't know who to say yes or no to. And so we just got the space. But it was great. And we had about 50 Atlanta running community members show up and really just love on these athletes. I mean, they were great. For those of you who haven't seen the photo gallery, we have it on our Facebook page. But I mean, like Peyton was the funniest. Like she was like literally like, why are all these people so excited to see me? And then like just hearing her story, talking about how she went from like, what was her first marathon? Is that right?
She qualified on her first marathon.
She ran a 2:42, I believe. Yeah, so that was amazing. So what was everyone's experience that weekend? Like, where were you? Did you watch the race on TV? Were you out there? And like, what was it like for you watching the race?
Let me chime in. My office, like literally my building that I work in, has the best view for the race. They come right up beside the Creative Media Industries Institute at Georgia State. And my plan was to go to my office into my building and be right outside, or either watch from inside the building because it's got this huge glass window. And I couldn't get downtown. I couldn't get to my parking deck. Like I literally was stuck in traffic and couldn't move. I probably should have gotten there a lot earlier. I thought I was getting there early, but I missed it all. Like I saw the flame. They lit the Olympic flame from 1996. I was able to see that. But by the time I tried to get to my parking deck or over by my office, they kept rerouting traffic. And then we just decided to go to the grocery store. But I was excited to see.
What? No.
It was nothing.
You went to the grocery store?
I couldn't get there. Darrell was like, no,
it was. We decided to go to a restaurant and catch it on the television.
No, it was the contingency plan because we were going to the grocery store after that anyway. When I got frustrated, I literally for about an hour and a half, I was trying to get somewhere where I could, see it, and I just couldn't. So I was like, okay, we're going to Whole Foods.
That's depressing, man.
Yeah, it's life.
I missed it. I was out of town. I came in for the Publix half, so I'm excited about that, and that was wonderful. We'll get to that later, but I missed it.
You missed it. Tess, can you turn off his mic, please?
I was out there. I was also a crew chief for Atlanta Track Club for the event. Yeah, it was just awesome. I mean, I can't even put it into words just how the atmosphere, how it was. It was really nostalgic just being in something that we probably would never experience again in our lifetime. Right. So it was just really, really an awesome, well put together event. Kudos to Atlanta Track Club for all the hard work and everything that they did to make it, one of the best. If this is coming from the athletes, one of the best, well-organized events, from picking up their bibs to dropping off their hydration to everything. So they really, really went all out for this. So it was really awesome. And I was very fortunate to be a part of it. So.
Hey, Darrell, the crazy part of my story is that there was no traffic all the way up until 1 block away from my parking deck. And the traffic was moving. And at that moment, the police blocked off that street. I could literally see my parking deck. And then they directed us, go this way and I said, okay, I'll go open it. And it just went all to hell from there.
Wait, you couldn't have parked 1 block away and walked over to watch the race?
You couldn't park anywhere.
Mic off too.
No, you had to go grocery shopping.
You literally couldn't park all the parking on the street was gone at that point. I'm downtown. There was no street parking because people had already done that. But I have my work downtown, so I'm going to my parking.
You're a runner.
You can show them your work badge, man.
Yeah, it didn't work too well.
You should have pulled out that Panther card.
That Panther card, it has its privileges, but not with that day.
That's dope, man. I spent most of the day. So I'm very fortunate that this is my first year on the board of the Atlanta Track Club because I got to use all of my privileges. So for the whole weekend, I had an all-access pass, which basically just allowed me to go anywhere I wanted to go. So, before the race, I was able to be there at the tunnel, like where all of the athletes were coming out. Then we were right across the other side of the finish line to see these athletes finish. So it was just great getting to see them cross the finish line and then look for and embrace their family and friends and supporters and all of that. And it was really cool meeting all of the African-American athletes that we met at the meet and greet because I was able to see all of them, when they finished and it felt a bit more personal. Like, man, I feel like I know these people now. Like, this is my friend coming across the finish line. So it was a great experience. It was super windy.
Yeah.
That was like one of the things I remember the most. Like it was so windy. But yeah, it was great. It was great. What about you, Tess?
Yeah, and there was definitely no lack of opinions from the athletes about our hills. So Atlanta, yeah. So for those racers out there, when you guys complain about our hills on the race course, those Olympians Olympic hopefuls, I should say, got a full dose. And it was a 3-loop course. So every hill that you saw, you had to see it 3 times. I think they said the last loop, that they added 2 miles to the last loop. And that was probably like the worst part of it. But they did finish on a downhill though. So that was it. Yeah. And just, shout out to Alafine and Sally Kipyego. And Sally was like kind of like the dark horse. Like she was kind of always in the mix the whole time. But Alafine and Molly, they ruled that race the whole time. Like it was so amazing to see. We were Shanta and I were both at 6, 14, and whatever the next number is, 22 or something like that. And so we got to see, the progression of who was taking the lead. And they were in command by the time they crossed us at the 22-mile mark. So it was just a great race. I've never rewatched a marathon so many times. I think I've watched it maybe 4 times, the broadcast.
Yeah.
It was an exciting race to watch. Yeah, if you start getting down in the dumps on this whole, races being canceled thing, just go back and watch the Olympic trials. That'll give you a little motivation. So.
For sure. Crowds were nuts.
There
was so many people out there.
Yeah, I think our 200,000 was the final official number.
Sounds about right. Yeah.
And people came out, people who were runners, non-runners. The kudos to the route, because they picked a route where you could just get random folks that would come out and be like, oh, what's going on? And they would stay and watch the race too.
Yeah, it was a real good show for the city. And then right after the trials, we had the Publix Atlanta Marathon the very next day, and it carried the same exact energy. In fact, all of the winners of the Olympic Trials Marathon, except for Galen Rupp, I know he had to catch a flight, but everybody else came and started the Publix Atlanta half and full marathon on the next day. I thought that was really cool.
I got to take a picture with Alafine at the start. I was very excited about that.
Nice.
You can see the photo on my Running Nerds Instagram page, so go check it out. Yeah, that was great. So Ralph, what was you said you got in there for Publix. What was your Publix?
Yeah, I was out of town, feet propped up on an island, so you don't have to cry about me. But I rolled in for the Publix and had a great time. It's a hilly race, so don't complain about the race. The Publix is more hilly than that, but a perfect day and just a wonderful experience in and of itself. I didn't know it would be my last race too, so I'm thankful that I did it. I debated about it, but I have no regrets. It was wonderful, wonderful experience. And I got to hang out with all my peeps like Tess and everybody else from the race the day after and watching the finish line and just cheering people in. So it was a cool experience.
Yeah. I really like how they had the post-race set up this year with the VIP and all the groups.
Yeah.
But those people that did Publix, the team take down Publix year, they kind of had us in a group tent area. which was away from the finish line. But this year they put us right on the finish line. It was really cool to be able to just sit there and watch people finish. And, you know, we had our spirits, we had all the, you know, snacks and everything. And people could just come over as soon as they cross the finish line, just come over, mingle for a bit before they headed out for the rest of their day. So I really like how Atlanta Track Club set that up this year.
Yeah, the club, they were really intentional about making sure that the Publix Atlanta half and full marathon got its due as well. So they didn't want it to feel like just a carryover from the Olympic trials qualifier. So as soon as the trials were done, all the signage was flipped, you know, a new start line erected so that people that were running the Publix felt like they had their own race too. And I think they really succeeded in that, especially having to turn around Centennial Park that quickly. I think they did a great job. I agree with you.
Yeah, one of our team members, David Henry, he was on that team. They said they called him the Flip Squad.
Yeah.
Got a whole crew dedicated to flipping from trials to Publix. So.
And we had amazing weather for that as well. I paced the marathon on that Sunday, and the weather was just amazing. And it was so exciting. This is my second year pacing. Last year, we didn't have anyone finish with us. You know, everyone dropped off, you know, by about mile 23 or 24. But this year, we had like a good 3 or 4 people that were able to hang in there with us. And just to see them accomplish their goal, you know, we brought them all in about 30 seconds under their goal time. And it was so excited, and it was really great seeing, coming right off of watching professionals, being able to see firsthand, you know, recreational runners really pushing it to their limit and then and reaching their goals. I was really happy about that.
Kudos on that, bro. That's fun. Yeah. I did the half, and my goal was to beat Alifine's marathon time in my half, and I accomplished that goal. So I was very happy.
Nice work.
I didn't beat Galen's marathon time though, so I still have some work to do.
There's always next time.
Yeah, and you know, we joked in the last podcast about Publix being kind of up for grabs. So what was the final time for the winners of the full?
The winner of the women's race was Caitlin Wood. She ran 2:59:57.
Mm-hmm.
Caitlin Wood, 2:59:57. And the winner of the men's race was Benjamin Kopecky. He ran 2:29:43. So those are definitely times that, you know, I think you were right on that.
Yeah, somebody could have came in and swooped that if they wanted to. So,
yeah.
But and then just to recap, Alifine was 2:26, and Galen was 2:09. Is that right? Oh, we gotta talk about Gail.
Yeah, ran her first half. Yeah. And Meb paced the half.
Yes. So we did get some contact with Meb and Gail. Gail Devers, as you all know, is was it 3-time gold medalist or 4-time gold medalist in track and field, and she was on a panel during the the Atlanta Marathon Weekend Expo, and she was so awesome, just talking about training for this half marathon. She had never ran more than like 101 meters, was like too long. Like she had all these jokes about how like she never imagined running more than what she had to be a sprinter. But she crushed it. I think she said she ran like a 152 or something like that.
That's strong. That's
nice
strong.
In the first.
And she was super cute. She came over to our area after the race and was kind of just talking with us. And she was showing us her splits on I think she wasn't using Strava, maybe like the Nike app, and just asking us. She's like, I think I went out too fast. So like typical runner stuff. So I think she's like definitely a convert. We got another distance runner under our belt.
Okay.
And all kinds of people were going up to her, asking her if she was going to run the race. So she knows about the race. She knows it's there. I don't know if we can convince her to come out and do another half on these hills, but we might be able to get her out for the 5K. So.
Well, you set the bar high now, Tessa. Now.
All right. So Publix Atlanta Marathon Olympic Trials Weekend was awesome. That's the moral of the story. Something we can reflect on and be extremely proud that we were a part of.
Well, I think one thing worth mentioning is in the running community, we're all concerned about this big bear. Things in the health field that I'm in is that it does, in fact, disproportionately affect African Americans. And there's a bunch of reasons why that might be so. First of all, we tend to have more what we call comorbid conditions, lots of other medical conditions that coexist at the same time: diabetes, high blood pressure, lung disease. We are often working on the front line, so we're more exposed. So we are the people working in the grocery store. We're also doctors, we're also nurses, and we're also housekeeping. So our exposure level is greater. We're not always able to shelter at home. Not all of the jobs have provided all of the protective equipment that one needs to reduce our exposure. So I think we have a little bit of an advantage because we're a health conscious group of people. So our runners tend to have fewer medical problems. We are not necessarily younger, but we are generally a little fitter. But we can't have an overly self-confident point of view about it. So we've got to take our protections, and we've got to, and we'll talk about that as we go on, maybe be super careful when we're running outside and running outside of our treadmill and making sure that we're doing our proper social distancing. In fact, social distancing should be even probably way more than 6 feet. But that's important to point out. And also, I'm also proud to say that not only the race, but organizations from way back have been concerned about not only our personal health, but the health of the African American running community. And I'm proud to be a member of the Southfield Running Club, for example. Southfield Running Partners have been around since 1979. The reason they got together in the first place was to improve their own health, their own physical health, and their own mental health. So it got to be an organization that served multiple purposes. So I think we have to continue to promote health in the community, continue to promote folks doing the right thing and not feeling overconfident at the same time. So I'm happy. The health community has changed too. I'm a part of that, and we've learned to do telehealthing and or telemedicine. So that's something I personally have learned recently, and I'm happy that it is not a perfect substitute, but it's the only one we have to be able to interface with our people that need help, that need advice, that need reassurance, and sometimes need a kick to go get some more health, go get some more care at the emergency room, for example. So I think we've got to keep doing that, and I think that's going to be here to stay as long as there is a viable economic structure that makes that available to patients. So I'm happy that that's here. I'm happy I'm learning new things. So that's pretty cool.
What is that looking like for you, Ralph? So like, how does it compare to someone who would have come to you to do a consultation? I know elective surgeries have been pretty much suspended across the nation, but what is telehealth looking like? And are you finding that you have to educate people on what that is and how to take advantage?
I think it's easier for people who are millennials. It is much harder for my older patients who are not familiar with Zoom. So basically it's a secure platform like Zoom or other things that we're able to interface. And there's still a telephone method for people that don't have a laptop, don't have a smartphone, but do need to connect. So that can happen. And ways of having an extended visit with them, being able to review all of their previous medical history, which is relevant to the present, by logging into our own records electronically with patients and spending that extra time that they need, almost like a real visit, not quite, you can't examine anybody. So I think it's helpful. It's not going to reach as well to some of the older people that really need it, but it will reach them. It will reach many. So I think it's a good thing overall, and I appreciate the opportunity to be involved with it. Still no substitute.
But emergencies are still emergencies,
whether there's a lump in their liver or not.
Yeah, emergencies are still emergencies. If someone has an emergency in whatever medical realm, they can still get help, right?
Yes, you've got to use your common sense. If you're having a heart attack, it doesn't matter whether you have risk to go to the emergency room or not. It's better not to die at home. So you go to the emergency room. They're there for you.
Yeah.
And they will always be there for you. So we're just advising people that have minor illnesses to not do that and to telehealth with their doc.
You know, I remember going to the Southfield Running Partners 40th anniversary celebration, and, you know, Booker, I think you're the one kind of took the lead on putting that documentary together. Pretty much everyone's story led with, I knew I had to do something about my health. Like all of the people who were interviewed, founding members, subsequent members, but I think that's the reason why most of us are inspired to become runners. And then all the other stuff kind of keeps you going. The training, the swag, the improving your time, the social aspect. But I think it almost always starts with, I just want to do something better for my health. I mean, what do you guys think about that concept from your personal experience and from runners that you know?
That's absolutely why I got involved in running at all, was a visit for a physical, and the doctor saying, hey, you're pre this and pre hypertensive and pre that. And I just knew in my mind what that looked like, because I could look at examples in my family of, if you don't do something now, this is where you're going to be. So I made a conscious decision to become active and join the YMCA and started out running on a treadmill. And my goal was to go back to have a physical where I wasn't pre anything. And because I just never wanted to be on medications. And so that started that journey. And I think all of us probably can attest to, like, when we first started running, it's usually not a physical activity that you just fall in love with immediately. You probably hate it at first, and you have to continue to do it. And at some point it just clicks. And it is so helpful to have a group of peers support you, positive peer pressure, as some of my friends say, and just, you know, somebody to keep you accountable, because you can't store up the fitness that you earn or the health that you earn. You can't like put it in the bank and say, okay, I ran 2,000 miles this year, I'm going to put some of that fitness away and I'm not going to run as much next year. I'm going to store it up and check some of that out. So you have to continuously do this. It's going to be a constant. It has to be a lifestyle change. And that's definitely what triggered my venture into this sport, if you will. And it's what keeps me motivated to continue to do it also. And it's also what gives me a little bit of confidence, of good feeling, even in this situation, is like, I don't currently have any of those underlying conditions. And I'm happy that I've done some things over the last 10 years to help prevent me from being in some of those circumstances. Now I do have asthma, so that puts me in a high risk category, but that's something I can't control. And that's something I've learned from Ralph too, and being a member of Southfield and Running Partners and having him as a friend and as a doctor who's talked to me about, like, you know, that's great that you do all those things, but genetics kick in, and there are things that you just have no control over. And being able to understand and accept that also.
Yeah.
I like the Marshawn Lynch approach. If you're familiar with the former Seattle Seahawks player, he talked about balance in your life in his own uniquely articulate way. He talked about taking care of your physicals, your mentals, and your chickens.
Your chickens.
Chickens refers to your financial affairs, and everybody in the world is concerned about staying balanced there, and especially right now. But your mental health is made better by your athletic endeavors. There's no question about that. And your physical health is made better by that. So take care of your mentals, your physicals, and your chickens, people. And I think you'll live a better balanced life and be the better for it.
Yeah. And
some of us will be getting some chickens in our account from the government.
No, I'm still waiting on my chickens. Hopefully by the time this is shared with the public, we'll all have some chickens in our account from the head chicken. Anyway,
chicken head.
But no, I think I would like to encourage everybody who's listening. So if you're listening to this podcast and you are an hour and some change into it, that means you are a runner, because nobody will listen to us this long unless you're a runner. if you're listening to this, you are an ambassador for health and wellness. Whether you are the slowest runner in your group, the fastest, or anywhere in between, somebody is looking at you and somebody is looking up to you. And please just take pride in that, runners, and just know that we are doing our part to make sure this underlying conditions situation is approached. Because I'm hearing a lot of things in the news about what is the government going to do about all these people dying from COVID-19, and like Ralph mentioned, organizations like Southfield Running Partners, Black Men Run, Black Girls Run, you name it, running club, group organizations. That's the reason why they started. And that's why we have these clubs and organizations that are specifically targeting the African American community, because we have known for decades that we have these disparities, and we have to continue to be intentional about serving our community. And that's what part of the race's mission, that's what we're all about. So thank you, Dr. Ralph, for, bringing some of that to light.
My pleasure.
And happy birthday.
Yes, tomorrow. Happy birthday, Ralph.
Happy birthday, Ralph.
Hey,
you guys.
Okay, so as in the conversation we were just having about why people start running and the groups that are out there, and the main reason those groups were started was to encourage people to be active and think about their health and do things to help make their health better. Those groups are still operating in this moment and still doing things to try to keep people active and to motivate people to get out and be active, even though we have social distancing and shelter in place in most of the country. So for example, I'm a member of Southfield Running Partners, and one of the things that we pride ourselves on is, first of all, we're in our 41st year, so the 40-year history prior to this year, we never missed a Saturday run, no matter what was going on, rain, snow, hail. I've almost run in a tornado with these guys. It's just crazy, some of the stuff that you end up doing with your peers. But even now, so on Saturday mornings, what we normally do is we meet at 7:30 in the spring, 8 o'clock in the fall, and we circle up as a family first. We introduce guests, we say a prayer before we run, and then we take off the run, and then we come back and we get together and we socialize. So because of COVID-19, we're not able to do that in that way anymore, but we went to a virtual version of that, where on Saturday mornings, we still circle up via Zoom. We circle up for 10 minutes at about 8:25. We take off for our runs at 7:35. So we run individually and we come back and circle back up again via Zoom. So it's not the same thing. Nobody's trying to act like it's the same thing, but it is something to keep us motivated, keep us accountable, and something that I actually look forward to on Saturday mornings because that's been so much a part of my life for the last, I've been a partner now for 7 or 8 years, and that's literally what I do on Saturday mornings. Every Saturday morning, I know where I'm going to be, wherever Southfield Running Partners are. So those type of things, and then we take pictures while running, and we share those pictures on social media to encourage other people who are not necessarily members of the group. And a lot of the other running groups, Black Girls Run, Black Men Run, they're all doing these type of kind of virtual things through social media to keep people engaged and keep people active and keep people thinking about their health, which right now is really more important than ever, where we have this pandemic of something that we've never had or encountered before. We don't have an immunity to it. So one of the best things that we can do is keep our health as good as possible to help combat it, just in case you do come in contact with it. I know you showed me where Black Girls Runnerz is doing a 6-week.
Yeah, so BGR is launching their virtual, they're calling it the Global. Oh, so they're leading up to Global Run Day. Yeah, so they're doing a lead up to Global Run Day 6-week virtual challenge. And you can find all this out on blackgirlsrunvirtualchallenge.com. So they're doing a super cool thing where you can get a shirt, you could get a training program. They're going to do weekly prizes. I know JL, their CEO JL, she has been doing walks with JL every Friday on IG. So just an example of just keeping the community engaged. I love what Black Girls Run's doing. I'm probably going to sign up for this virtual and get me some swag, and just, again, just the support too. That's my main thing. I want to support these organizations so that they're still here and functioning on the other side of this.
Yeah. And then the Atlanta Track Club, if I'm not mistaken, Darrell, there's some virtual trainings and preparation. Are they doing the virtual trainings now to prepare for the Peachtree?
Yeah, so Peachtree training has shifted to virtual.
Okay.
Just had the Atlanta Women's 5K, which was conducted virtually as well. So just like all these other groups you mentioned, Track Club has also shifted virtual. Offices have been closed, and all of the meetings for the board have all been virtual via Zoom. So, virtual training for the Peachtree Road Race, which is also still not canceled at this point. So.
At this point,
It's not canceled. Yeah, so DRC, and it's just a great example of one of the kind of larger run crews across the nation, and you can kind of insert various run crews, but they are keeping up social media. They're doing connecting with their members. They're not meeting, so none of these groups are meeting. They have been very adamant about making sure that that meetups aren't happening in large groups. And if you are meeting up with one person or two people, making sure you maintaining social distancing. And then a lot of the crews too are figuring out ways to get back to their communities, doing donation drives, or supporting the people who are members of the groups that are healthcare workers or frontline workers. So I really love seeing, I go on all the social medias throughout the week just to kind of check in and see what everybody's doing.
Right.
But yeah, and then even organizations like Black Runners Connection, which is more of like a Facebook group. I love like checking in there because there's runners from all over the country that post what's going on in their cities and their states. And the thing about this whole thing that really is intriguing to me is that we literally are all going through it. It's like, literally, it might not be as intense in certain areas, but everybody's on lockdown. Everybody's social distance. Like these terms are worldwide. It's not just, oh, that's happening up in New York, or, oh, that's happening in China. We're all going through it. So but we can take away a lot of learnings from this time.
Yeah, and just individually, even on social media, I've seen some of my social media friends and personal friends. Actually, Roy is doing a running pyramid where it starts with 1 mile for 1 day, 2 miles for 2 days, 3 miles for 3 days. I thought that was interesting. I think did he get that from you, Darrell?
No, he did not get that.
Okay.
He did tell me about it though. So
okay.
He's running mission. He told me that he got that from Philip King.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think came up with that.
It's something that yesterday I was in the shower and I started doing the math, trying to figure out how many miles it was and how many days.
I did it for him already. So it starts out with 18 miles is week 1. And you eventually work your way up to 70 miles because you're running 10 miles a day, 10 days in a row. So that would be a 70-mile week.
No, I was talking about total miles. I think it came up to 384.
380. Yeah, something like that.
384 and 50 some odd days, 55 odd days. So
yeah,
there's a lot of interesting things that runners are doing online that, keep people motivated. And I just think people should, try your best to stay motivated. It's not as easy. And I will admit myself, I have not been as active as I normally would outside of quarantine. Because I would normally get to my Saturday runs, get to my Tuesday and Thursday runs, do whatever run I'm going to do on the treadmill. And now it's a little bit more of a task to get up and come downstairs in my basement and run on the treadmill, or even go out for a run. So let's see what Shanta can tell us about the fitness world outside of running. What's going on with that, Shanta?
I mean, there's a lot going on out there in the fitness world outside of just virtual runs and things like that. So even though we're not able to go to a physical brick and mortar, these businesses and trainers are still finding ways to engage us, to keep us moving, to strive to have better health. Whether it's some of our past fitness partnerships or our current, I'll definitely say, definitely check out Effect Fitness. They are doing something wonderful, which I've always thought, to get us, our African American community, moving. So they're doing virtual workouts 3 days a week, 5 days out the week. So you can definitely check out their Instagram for more information, more details. We also have partnership with Camp Gladiator. They're doing like a 5-week camp, correct, Tess?
Yeah, 5-week virtual camp, and we'll link all the details for all these in our show notes.
Okay. And then we have Coco Chanel. She's on our race committee. She does a lot of things with our social media engagement and things like that. But she's also a fitness trainer. So she's doing virtual training every Tuesday at 7 p.m. We'll definitely link her IG information so you can check that out. Definitely don't want to forget about like Vibe Rides. They're doing virtual trainings, whether it's live or on demand. And I would definitely say most of these live classes are free. But they can always appreciate some in-kind donation or something like that. So.
Yeah, and we have a new partner that we're going to be vetting. They're actually kind of an interesting story. It's a new fitness facility called Relentless Fitness, and they were literally scheduled to open the end of March. So they had to quickly pivot and put all of their classes online. And I talked to the founders and told them, it could be a blessing because you're really going to get a chance to vet your processes. So once we get through all of this, their trainers are going to know how to teach people without being able to see them. And by the time we get to, they can get to opening up their facility, it's going to be on the west side of Atlanta, which is where the race runs through. So Relentless Fitness, we're going to offer some opportunities for people to try out their virtual classes. And again, the cool thing about the virtual, anybody listening to this, you can tap in. So I know I've done a Relentless Fitness. I'm doing some Camp Gladiator tomorrow. Have any of you guys done any virtual workouts, whether it be like an ab class or yoga or anything like that? Have y'all tried it?
I've done, like I said, I've done the Effect Fitness. I know I signed up for like Peloton. I've done like a yoga class on Peloton. I mean, I'm up for trying anything, whether it's abs. I'm always finding some live workouts on Instagram. So.
But I will say, not every trainer on IG Live is putting out good content. Like I just like to some of these places just to watch to see what they're doing.
Yeah, that goes without saying.
Y'all sound like y'all got some stories to tell.
Oh,
that's another podcast.
That's another podcast.
One was me and Shanta, we of course text throughout the day, and from a entertainment standpoint, everybody's doing these DJ sets and concerts. So the singer Lettucey went on live, and please, I hope she does hear this actually. She went on there and was just on there just talking. She had like 2,000 people on there. We were like, are you going to sing or are you just going to talk to us? And she literally sang one song and then logged off. We were like, okay. So now I'm hesitant with these artists going on and doing their little IG lives, but
the artists are trying to figure out. I got to defend the artists. They're trying to figure it out. Everybody's trying to figure out what's going on.
They're really doing some cool things, like with the whole battles. I'm really digging that between whether it's producers.
Oh, I can't wait till this Saturday. Are you going to the one this Saturday? Babyface and Teddy Raleigh.
Oh, that's gonna be done
on IG Live this Saturday.
Oh, that's gonna be everyone's looking forward to that one.
Darrell, I'm gonna give you access to my IG just so you can watch this. This is gonna be historic. That's another podcast. Don't get me started in that.
I saw a couple of them on YouTube.
Did you see the RZA and Premiere?
I saw a little bit of it. I didn't see the whole thing. It was taking too long to start because RZA was having some technical issues.
But once it started, let me tell you,
real quick.
It was. That's my era. So I would just. I had chill bumps all night. Those are like two of my favorite producers. For those of you who don't know me,
I consider that my era too, even though it probably isn't. But I got into rap at a pretty young age, so some of my earliest memories, certainly Wu. Like Wu-Tang I don't know, man. It was. Anyway,
Booker, how do you feel about like all these like artists and they're giving out their free content? Do you think it's a cool thing?
Love it. It's interesting because I'm currently teaching 2 classes that are directly related to this. So at the university, I'm teaching Introduction to the Music Industry, and I'm also teaching a class that I wrote called Urban Music and Audio Production. Mm-hmm. So I have actually assigned my students in my urban music class to watch the battle on IG Live and comment, and then come back and we're going to have a discussion via our iCollege system. Is our virtual system that we use for class, where they're going to discuss like what they learned, what they thought about the experience. And a lot of them are entrepreneurs. They want to get into the music industry and start businesses. So
that's dope.
I'm trying to get them to all think about what it is about what's happening now that they could take from it and apply to a business. Like how, because, you know, artists aren't making any money.
Yeah.
Artists need to tour to make money because of the way the deals are set up.
Doing okay.
Yeah, Be Nice maybe, but if it is, it's only through like his Cash App thing.
Yeah.
So you follow what I'm saying? Like outside of this, D Nice is going to be great because of all of the tie-ins he's made. He's setting up for later. But as far as, you know, most artists have deals. I'm about to lecture, but anyway, most artists have what's called a 360 deal, meaning they don't make a lot of money off of music that they sell, mechanical royalties, because of streaming service, and nobody wants to pay for music. So they make their money touring, and nobody can tour. DJs can't do parties, promoters can't promote parties. So that whole income is completely gone. So there are a lot of your favorite artists are wishing they had the $30,000 they made it rain with at Super Bowl Sunday. Trust me, right at this moment, because that money's not coming in, and as much money as they bring in, a lot of them live check to check, just like the average person. Let's get back to running. Tess, we know you have 1,000,001 things going on, and maybe under quarantine you have 999,099 instead of 1,000,000. But what's going on with Running Nerds? What are you guys doing to keep the community motivated?
Well, you know, I feel a huge responsibility as a runner, race director, running community leader, to keep our community motivated, like you said. So what we've been doing through Running Nerds, so all Running Nerds channels, the race is under the Running Nerds and banner. Of course, our race series, Run Social Race Series. We're running kind of a campaign of stay active, stay connected, stay positive. So you see that messaging coming from us throughout all of our social platforms, our emails. I found myself saying it a lot. I'm becoming like a tagline on that, but hey, if that's what you remember us from, once we get to the other side of this, I'm cool with that. I dusted off my coaching certification and started a training team. And we've got about 25 runners and walkers, from beginner all the way to like marathoners that don't have anything to train for right now. So they just want an accountability group. So I'm really excited about that. Run Social, our race series, we've had 3 events in our series that have had to be postponed or canceled. And we're going to be announcing a virtual race next week, or a virtual challenge. I don't want to call it a virtual race. It's going to be a virtual challenge to kind of take up some of the interests that we have for our live events. And then our West Midtown Run Club, which meets on Wednesdays in West Midtown Atlanta. We are not meeting, but we're still every Wednesday. I post some kind of motivation there. And then I wanted to mention one of our partners, and this is a race charitable partner as well as one of Running Nerds partners. The Girls on the Run Atlanta is hosting a virtual 5K. It's a free event, so you can go in and sign up for it and basically complete any distance, any activity. We're just asking for people to complete 30 to 40 minutes of exercise in the name of the Girls on the Run. Our race would have been on April 25th, so we're doing it that weekend. It's going to be really fun. So sign your families up for it. If you feel inclined, they are accepting donations in lieu of registration fees. So I would love to see all of you guys sign up and do your run in the name of Girls on the Run and support that program. So just trying to stay ahead of the motivation. Like, I think we have a huge responsibility. So that kind of takes us into what is the race going to be doing through these next few months. So we're, again, optimistic, hopeful, planning. We're still going to have our monthly team meetings, planning the race. We're working on.
The race not canceled.
Yeah, it is not canceled. We're going to be putting out our sponsor partner application in the next week or so. Volunteer registration is going to open up. And we certainly understand that there's going to be a lot of hesitancy now for people to register, for people to sign up for volunteer roles. We're going to be reaching out to our charity partners and seeing how they're doing and how they want to be involved. But we want to continue to plan and proceed. So a cool thing that we're going to launch next week, and again, this is April 15th, so you might be hearing this after we launch it. We're going to encourage racers to get out, do a solo run, rep your city, rep your hood, support Black-owned businesses, support local businesses. Because again, there's a lot of businesses struggling right now, and your support, if you're able, is going to be the only thing that keeps them going through this time.
Yeah.
So we're going to launch a campaign just to continue to support those businesses, support the race, y'all. Like, we need your support too. And tag us on Facebook, Instagram, social media, and just get out there and stay active and motivate people like we've talked about. Yeah.
Well, you can follow me on Instagram at Triple B Producer, and that's the same on Twitter, and on Facebook I'm just.
Oh wait, Twitter, that's still a thing, right?
Yeah, Twitter's still a thing, absolutely. And I also do, if you're interested in anything music and audio related, I have a YouTube page, Noise Reduction. That's NOIZ Reduction on YouTube. And of course, you can stay connected with the race at @race_UC on Instagram and at the Race UC on Facebook. And of course, you can always follow Running Nerds on YouTube.
Yes. And likewise, you can follow me personally. I mean, if you know my name, you can follow my name on Facebook. And on Instagram, I'm at Running Nerds and at Run Social Atlanta. The Running Nerds YouTube channel is where we house all of our Running Nerds content videos. So that includes the race, Run Social, anything Running Nerds. And I've been doing these weekly videos as well, just kind of sharing my thoughts on the current state of running and race directing. So yeah, that's how you can find me. Keep in touch.
Darrell, don't you? Am I mistaken? Don't you have a YouTube vlog now, or what is?
Yeah, I have a YouTube channel. I have a total of 9 subscribers. Yeah, let's get me the dope.
I'm one of them.
I'm gonna be 10 tonight. Let me do that.
My man. So, so probably the easiest way to find it is to just go through my website, which is darellruns.com. DARELRUNS.com. And then if you go there, you'll see a link that says my YouTube, and you can back into it.
Keep people motivated, positive, stay connected. And I'm just really looking forward to October, getting all the people together, maybe hug, maybe not, depending on how you feel, but at least Darrell says no hugging.
No hugging.
Yeah, virtual high five.
We're going to be throwing up the Wakanda sign at each other. But rest assured, guys, we're all about your safety, your comfort, and most importantly, just keeping you excited and motivated and positive. So thank you so much for listening. We're signing off. And our next podcast will probably be in August. So we'll be excited to share what's coming down the pipe as we get closer to race weekend. So y'all have a good one. God bless you. Stay safe.
Peace.
Is that right? Oh, did it do it again? What is going on?
She's back.
I don't trust that, so I'm about to log on to my phone Wi-Fi.
Tess, we decided that we're going to launch a new GoFundMe so we can get you a better router.
No, this hasn't happened before. I hear some rumbling of thunder. I hear some rumbling of thunder outside. I wonder if this
What?
You're in the Matrix.
Go.
All right, I'm keeping all this in there. If this is in the recording, it's all gonna stay in this. So, anyway.